Everybody, today I am going to be hitting this parody on Cinamare in series where he does basically what the name implies and sends movies and TV shows. And since this is a parody of that, obviously I have to do the thing that Jeremy does where he literally makes no sense in his things. No, I don't have to, but this guy apparently does. And by the way, I'm reacting to the second part of this guy's sins on his two-parter because the first part of it really didn't have anything much to sin other than like a few minor things. Also, sorry if my voice sounds bad during this. It's not my fault, okay?
And hope of this miserable world.
My little pony.
Theme.
I reject that sin firmly. I like the theme song. Also, you should really listen to the extended version with a good set of the earbuds. It's got to produce a good rocking beat under it.
Not to worry, every pony. We can just use the spell Starlight used on the Disintegrating Journal earlier this season.
I don't think that's how it works. I mean, I'm no expert in magic, but I'm pretty sure that the book still has to be intact, at least mostly, for you to be able to copy it like that.
When I extinguish
Also, why not just use a printer?
the light and hope of this miserable world.
King's.
Why does that voice sound like it should belong to, like, a DuckTales villain? Not really a sin, just like a question.
Sombra was widely criticized by fans for lacking substance and being a stereotypical, boring villain with uninspired motivations. After the Pony of Shadows, however, we are begging for his return to give us a villain with some much-needed motivation and depth.
Okay. So, I'm sorry for pausing so much, but, in the Legends of Magic comic books, which I believe was a spin-off to the Pillars of Equestria's Legends, there was a six-part, I believe, series within that series where Stygian, and it's shown how Stygian united the Pillars and, well, not how he started to turn evil, but just how he united the Pillars. And after going through all that to help his town, I do think that if he was feeling left out, that actually kind of could have led to something like this happening.
And you six will bow to me!
You're going to have to be more specific, Mr. Pony of Shadows. There's 14 main characters here now.
He really only cared about 6 of them, though. He really didn't care about Twilight and her friends. Like, let's be honest.
Try to keep up. Speaking of...
Oh, sorry, Spike. Damn, knows the Spike abuse. Not a sin, but still.
that Disintegrating Journal, Pinkie Pie, that's the original copy. That should be
It's Pinkie Pie, don't question it.
wrapped in plastic and kept behind glass, not used as a prop in your obnoxiously unhelpful exposition recaps.
For something like this, where the Pillars have no idea what's happening, exposition is basically a requirement.
With so many main characters being featured in this two-parter, no single one of them really has a personality of their own beyond...
Okay, I'm not gonna send this, I'm going to agree with it because... I do agree, the Pillars of Equestria really needed more development within the show. Because the only place where they got any, like, sort of actual real development was in the comics. But even that was, like, a little bit, like, rushed. And I feel like they could have done better.
beyond Grumpy Old Guy and Stumbling Fangirl. It's just the collective Pillars and the collective main 6 taking turns talking at the audience. If it were realistic, these meetings would sound more like a crowded Discord call.
Stop the Pony of Shadows twice as...
Okay, this part of the video is just more, like, funny than anything else because, I mean, if all the people were just talking all at once during this, it would just sound so chaotic that the audience wouldn't even be able to hear what they were saying. Also, I like that Fluttershy is muted. Like, I don't want to say anything.
Oatmeal, are you crazy? Did you know he can do that? He's Star Swirl. He can do anything.
Doesn't the show have
Why is it always a Star World day in this show like this? Okay.
enough characters that can do anything? Speaking of which,
He's Star Swirl. He can do anything.
doesn't the show have enough characters that can do
yeah,
anything?
exactly.
Speaking of which, this is yet another world-ending conflict Discord is inconveniently absent from.
I'm pretty sure that Discord could have solved most of these season finales in like 2 seconds.
Grown from the seed we planted over 1,000 years ago.
For some reason, there's inconsistency about how long ago all this took place.
Solving a thousands-year-old mystery.
Okay, just for clarification, because like he is like making a little bit of a mistake here. They're not saying like 1,000 years ago exactly. They're saying thousands. So, in other words, this should not be a goddamn sin.
History, thousands-year-old prison.
Star Swirl might have well have said over a day ago and still be just as accurate.
I mean, true, but
But then
still.
again, how would he know how long it's been if time itself was frozen? Did every pony catch the pillars up during their awkward walk back to the castle
Probably.
together? You know an episode has too much exposition when we find ourselves expositing on the expository dialogue that fills the gaps between scenes full of exposition. Cutie marks are essential to representing who a pony is and the core plot of the show. Because of the importance of cutie marks, a lot of emphasis is put on their butts. This is normally handled quite tastefully and is rarely shoved in our faces. Except for now, in both ours and Pinky's.
Why was that a sin?
Magic!
Pinkie Pie channels her inner SpongeBob, but her eagerness puts her too close to the camera to make this a meme. Inhibiting the growth of a meme is truly a terrible sin.
No.
The pillars sure do grasp the concept, purpose, and mechanism of the elements of harmony quickly for how little time they've existed today.
I mean, actually, that's fair enough. How they were able to grasp the concept so quickly. I mean, I understand that they're supposed to be being portrayed as smart here, but like, this is an example of like a lot of telling and not a lot of showing.
Sure wish the lore was that easy for us to understand after 7 years. Twilight immediately assumes they need to sacrifice the elements of harmony as if there's no other possibility. Then they immediately assume the tree has to die. Then they immediately assume all of
I mean, assuming that the tree has to die if they use the elements. Also, I'm not sure when the elements were assigned a known power level that could be exceeded.
Equestria is at risk. It's just a cascading series of plot inconveniences presented in the most uninteresting way possible. The
I wouldn't exactly say uninteresting, but yeah.
epitome of tell, don't show. If they just need a source of power, why not slowly charge up some MacGuffin or take the power from something no pony will miss? Ah, there's
Oh, here's an idea. Hey, since you guys already did a Transformers crossover in the comics, how about you just take their energon? They won't miss it.
an idea. Take it from something like Flurry Heart.
What about this one?
Flurry Heart is a child.
See, pony etiquette isn't gonna help right now, Spike.
Which is funnier, Spike giving Twilight a useless book, or Twilight herself judging a book by its cover?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
That was a literal book being judged by its cover, so no. That was
Now the
not a
elements of
sin.
harmony will be lost to fix my mistake.
One moment, Twilight is upset about potentially losing the elements.
Even though we'll lose the elements, we'll have the ponies that created them.
The next, she almost seems happy to.
That was not a sin. Also, in season 9, they lose the elements anyway, so what does it matter?
Although to be fair, relying upon the potential destruction of the elements as the primary means of raising the stakes is pretty silly, since it was the premiere to show us that they merely represent the power the friends already inherently hold. Who cares if they get destroyed? Again.
I mean, yeah.
It may look like Spike is carrying this stack of 10 books, but really, he's only holding these 5, and the others are floating behind him.
I saw that animation error, but like, This is not a goddamn sin.
Twilight gets so excited that her leg falls off.
No.
I was thinking of another way that maybe doesn't involve banishing at all.
For all Starlight knows, this is just another King Sombra, or some other heartless dark entity. Why
That
is she
they have managed to redeem before. So what is your point?
acting like she already knows Stygian was wronged and can be saved? She doesn't even know his name yet. Unless Discord gave her a peek at the script to help things move along, of course. Maybe he's more involved
How nobody online has shipped Starlight and Stygian yet, that is beyond me.
than we give him credit for. Fun fact. Main characters are too important to use sidewalks. Hasbro would like to interrupt this scene to remind you that this is apple juice.
No.
There does not
in
exist-
fact, dude, okay. Just a clarification, the cider in MLP is not alcoholic. It is very clearly sparkling cider. We've all had Martinelli's.
Exists in this world, nor has it ever existed. So please, tell your parents to stop sending the angry letters. Our paper shredder keeps clogging and the glitter and glue on the fan art from 10-year-olds isn't helping either. Twilight makes the amazingly clogging and the glitter and glue on the fan art from 10-year-olds isn't helping either.
Wow.
Twilight makes the amazingly convenient discovery that the pillars don't have to sacrifice themselves. This is while they explore all over Equestria looking for dark magic, presumably taking days or weeks. But
No, because these two are surprisingly fast flyers. Pinky has Pinky Logic, Cinambula is probably also a fast flyer. Since Rockhook and Applejack are very strong, then it also follows that they would be super fast. And these two groups have unicorns that could teleport, so what is the point that you're trying to make?
But only sometime after they return home, Twilight reveals that she's been keeping her ear on the door for the perfect comedic timing to give them the good news. Pretty cruel of her to let them think they were all going to die for so long. Also, why did they travel Equestria as one ridiculously large group when
They didn't. It was literally shown that they were coming back together in Manhattan.
splitting up would have been 6 times faster? Unless Star Swirl had to be the one to scan for dark power or something. Either way, the others were just along for the ride on a bit of fun tourism before their not-so-inevitable death.
This is hardly the time
It's
to
not
take risks
death.
on half-baked spells.
Twilight doesn't do anything halfway.
Especially not magic.
Except for earlier, when she did, and put the whole world at risk.
She didn't really know. Actually, you know what? Never mind. She should have. Yeah, I'm not counting this as a...
While it is an unconventional approach, I believe it could work.
How does the swamp
Hey, asshole, you know that Meadowbrook is friends with Star Swirl and Miss Main? Well, not Star Swirl, but she is friends with Miss Main and Stygian. Or was with Stygian. So, here's a question for you. Do you ever think that at any point during that time, like Twilight has done with, her friends, that, Meadowbrook would not have read a single unicorn spell during that time? You don't think that?
pony understand this unicorn spell? They are so
Also,
incapable of moving the plot forward, the Tree of
Yes.
Harmony itself has to hold their hoof and give them an exact location to keep things moving along. Characters being just as helpless to progress the story as the audiences at home is truly one of the ultimate sins. As is repetition. They say you don't truly die until all memory of you is forgotten. Apparently, Golden Oak Library didn't truly die until just now, because it was at this point the episode forgot.
The Hollow Shades.
Animation error, not a sin.
I think a branch of the Apple family lives there.
The Hollow Shades was abandoned eons ago.
Fun fact, Season 3 took place eons ago.
You just said, I think a branch of the Apple family lives there. That is in the present tense. Lived is in the past tense.
RSVPs from Apples from Yonder Hill, Hollow Shades. So it's like a supervillain tracker!
After exclusively leading them to friendship problems all this time, they conclude that it must be a supervillain tracker now, because friendship is for chumps.
Do you think the map could be trying to tell us where the Pony of Shadows is?
Do you think the magical map marker is actually the place we have to go? You mean that's not just a side quest? Starlight Glimmer, the master manipulator able to convince ponies to part with their kitty marks, isn't able to communicate a better solution here. After all, what could be better than giving up the elements of harmony if they're the one thing keeping Starlight from
I guess one of the side effects of reforming is losing some of your evil talents.
becoming an equal main character?
It's been a long time. Maybe the Pony of Shadows is ready to talk?
Remember, they were all frozen in time, so the banishment to return duration was less than a day. Although to be fair, Starlight's experience also involved being ready to talk after about a day of time travel shenanigans. Rainbow Dash has been spending so much time around Flash Magnus that her wing is turning into a...
Where did that vector even come from of Rainbow Dash's wing with that coloration?
Huh, that's odd. The episode is blank for about half a minute, about 12 minutes in. There's just nothing here. This happened in 2 previous episodes, strangely enough. Perhaps there is some connection?
No. That's just how the show works. Because they usually do a blank screen moment to do a time skip.
Thank goodness Stygian interrupted the Pillar's huddle of ignorance adjacent to the nearby disaster occurring. They might not have noticed otherwise.
That is actually not what happens if you read the Legends of the Magic comics that I just talked about. How it took way longer than what the show was stowing. That just for Stygian to have united the Pillars. And there were a lot of shenanigans going on because comics.
Flashback to the castle of the two sisters does not include a glimpse of the two sisters.
Technically, according to the Legend of the Magic comics, which I find to be canon, sue me, that is actually not what their castle was always going to look like. My theory is that they were actually going to transition, were in their other castle. I know that is weird, but hear me out.
Spike joins them on their way to the final battle, but he must have tripped into a ditch or something and no pony noticed because he disappears from all future scenes here.
I mean, they normally don't notice Spike anyway, so fair enough.
How nice of the Pegasi to volunteer to fall in solidarity with their flightless friends.
Yeah, kind of weird.
There's a pony in there!
Twilight thought the name Pony of Shadows was merely a metaphor.
Why is that a sin?
Or something.
I long to see what has become of my home.
You're gonna be pretty disappointed.
Who wants to tell her? You know, then again, she is the only one of the Pillars who can still technically see her family. Because of the gruesome, horrible disease that turned them into trees, that is.
No, she is the only one of the Pillars who can still see her family because Cattail is now living in Hayseed Swamp. And it is established, both in the show and the comics, that Cattail is actually Maze Metalwork's descendant, so, F you.
And share the wisdom of your great experience with the next generation of ponies.
Who wants to tell her? The epic conclusion to the episode is Stygian
Please
deciding
don't bring up G5.
whether he wants to embrace friendship and give up his dark powers, or remain evil. But this decision doesn't come until he's already halfway into the banishment portal,
He really
meaning
has
he
no
doesn't have
choice.
much of a choice at all, foregoing any semblance of character growth or agency. The friendship cult made this decision for him, and we have zero reason to think he's actually reformed.
Do we have any reason to think that he was actually evil in the first place? Show of hands. Since nobody's hand is raised.